और राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप की मुलाकात G7 समिट की साइडलाइंस पर होनी तय थी। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप को जल्दी वापस अमेरिका लौटना पड़ा, जिसके कारण ये मुलाकात नहीं हो पाई। इसके बाद राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप के आग्रह पर आज दोनों लीडर्स की फोन पर बात हुई। बातचीत लगभग 35 मिनट चली। 22 अप्रैल को पहलगाम आतंकी हमले के बाद राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप ने फोन पर प्रधानमंत्री मोदी को शोक संवेदना प्रकट की थी और आतंक के खिलाफ समर्थन व्यक्त किया था। उसके बाद दोनों लीडर्स की ये पहली बातचीत थी। इसलिए प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप से ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के बारे में विस्तार से बात की। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप को स्पष्ट रूप से कहा कि 22 अप्रैल के बाद भारत ने आतंकवाद के खिलाफ कार्रवाई करने का अपना दृढ़ संकल्प पूरी दुनिया को बता दिया था। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने कहा कि 6-7 मई की रात को भारत ने पाकिस्तान और पाकिस्तान ऑक्यूपाइड कश्मीर में सिर्फ आतंकी ठिकानों को ही निशाना बनाया था। भारत के एक्शन बहुत ही मेजर्ड, प्रिसाइस और नॉन एस्केलेटरी थे। साथ ही भारत ने यह भी स्पष्ट कर दिया था कि पाकिस्तान की गोली का जवाब भारत गोले से देगा। 9 मई की रात को उपराष्ट्रपति वैंस ने प्रधानमंत्री मोदी को फोन किया था। उपराष्ट्रपति वैंस ने कहा था कि पाकिस्तान भारत पर बड़ा हमला कर सकता है। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने उन्हें साफ शब्दों में बताया था कि यदि ऐसा होता है तो भारत पाकिस्तान को उससे भी बड़ा जवाब देगा। 9-10 मई की रात को पाकिस्तान के हमले का भारत ने बहुत सशक्त जवाब दिया और पाकिस्तान की सेना को बहुत नुकसान पहुंचाया। उसके मिलिट्री एयर बेसिस को इनऑपरेबल बना दिया। भारत के मुंहतोड़ जवाब के कारण पाकिस्तान को भारत से सैन्य कार्रवाई रोकने का आग्रह करना पड़ा। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप को स्पष्ट रूप से कहा कि इस पूरे घटनाक्रम के दौरान कभी भी किसी भी स्तर पर भारत अमेरिका ट्रेड डील या अमेरिका द्वारा भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच मध्यस्थता जैसे विषयों पर बात नहीं हुई थी। सैन्य कार्रवाई रोकने की बात सीधे भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच दोनों सेनाओं की एग्जिस्टिंग चैनल्स के माध्यम से हुई थी और पाकिस्तान के ही आग्रह पर हुई थी। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने जोर देकर कहा कि भारत ने न तो कभी मध्यस्थता स्वीकार की थी, न करता है और न ही कभी करेगा। इस विषय पर भारत में पूर्ण रूप से राजनीतिक एकमत है। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप ने प्रधानमंत्री द्वारा विस्तार में बताई गई बातों को समझा और आतंकवाद के खिलाफ भारत की लड़ाई के प्रति समर्थन व्यक्त किया। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने यह भी कहा कि भारत अब आतंकवाद को प्रॉक्सी वॉर नहीं, युद्ध के रूप में ही देखता है और भारत का ऑपरेशन सिंदूर अभी भी जारी है। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप ने प्रधानमंत्री मोदी से पूछा कि क्या वे कनाडा से वापसी में अमेरिका रुक कर जा सकते हैं। पूर्व निर्धारित कार्यक्रमों के कारण प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने अपनी असमर्थता व्यक्त की। दोनों लीडर्स ने तब तय किया कि वे निकट भविष्य में मिलने का प्रयास करेंगे। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप और प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने इजरायल ईरान के बीच चल रहे संघर्ष पर भी चर्चा की। रूस यूक्रेन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट पर दोनों ने सहमति जताई कि जल्द से जल्द शांति के लिए दोनों पक्षों में सीधी बातचीत आवश्यक है और इसके लिए प्रयास करते रहना चाहिए। इंडो पैसिफिक क्षेत्र के संबंध में दोनों नेताओं ने अपने परिप्रेक्ष्य साझा किए और इस क्षेत्र में क्वाड की अहम भूमिका के प्रति समर्थन जताया। क्वाड की अगली बैठक के लिए प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप को भारत यात्रा का निमंत्रण दिया। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप ने निमंत्रण स्वीकार करते हुए कहा कि वे भारत आने के लिए उत्सुक हैं।
And now to get you more on this, I'm joined by DD India correspondent Amit Mukherjee from New Delhi. Amit, India has cleared its stand that it never accepted any mediation between India and Pakistan from any third party. Tell us more about it from diplomatic point of view and the fact that India always stood firm in its stand against terrorism.
Well, Deepika, first of all, let's understand that this has been, the culmination of India's outreach against terrorism. Global outreach which India has been doing. Several delegations have been going out across to different countries in the world and briefing leaders about the April 22nd attack and thereafter India's stance as far as terror is concerned. Fight against terror is concerned. And India had also made it clear that the doctrine to fight terror was redefined post April 22. Now, this again, the call between President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is again the India's outreach at the highest level, where the leaders of the two largest democracies of the world had a one-on-one where Prime Minister Narendra Modi very, very clearly spelled out India's doctrine as far as dealing with terror is concerned. He briefed President Donald Trump entirely on the Operation Sindoor and India's stance as far as dealing with proxy terrorism which has been happening, proxy war through terrorism which has been happening. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also made it clear that India will now be treating proxy war as a direct war, as far as terror is concerned, and India will be giving a befitting reply. All the things that had taken place, which led to the India-Pakistan, conflict escalating on the night of 9th and 10th of May, when India launched an attack against Pakistan, Prime Minister Modi spelled out each and every aspect of it. And again, certain very, very key pointers, during the talks which came out, like India is not going to accept any mediation. India is going to be tough against terror. Those were the things that were spelled very, very clearly out at a direct one-on-one conversation between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Donald Trump and President Donald Trump, which is a very, very significant, step as far as, India's war against terror is concerned. Deepika?
And also, Amit, US President initiated the call with the Indian Prime Minister, and this comes ahead of the Quad Summit, which is to be hosted by India in this year. How does this reflect on India-US relationship?
Well, Deepika, if you look at the entire global picture, trade war, tariff war is something which is very, very significant at this point in time. And currently, US and India is also negotiating trade deals, which is going to impact the economies of both the countries, as well as it will have a global impact, as far as US and India trade deals are concerned. Now, if you look at the Indian economy, the stock market has been quite stable. I mean, if you look at, the stock markets across the world, they have been going through a lot of turmoil. But Indian economy has been very, very stable, which is again a the reflection of which is again the Indian stock markets. And it has been choppy, but by and large, it has been stable. Now, again, the relationship, taking forward the relationship which was discussed today, between President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi regarding his, Prime Minister Modi extended, an invitation to President Donald Trump to come over to India during the next Quad, meeting, and which President Donald Trump also accepted, And a lot of things has not been said, but it's very, very clear that India and US is again moving ahead towards a very, very strategic relationship going ahead. And whether it's trade or other sort of associations, bilateral associations, and these things are moving at a very, very positive direction. That is what the crux of this whole conversation which had happened this earlier today between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Donald Trump reflects upon. And the indication is very, very healthy, very, very positive going ahead. US and India will definitely look at better and improved and escalate and improved, bilateral relations, whether it's in terms of trade, technology, and also military associations.
Rather flourishing bilateral relationship when we talk about both the countries, and also the fact that both the leaders discussed the Iran-Israel conflict. They also discussed the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi once again reiterated the fact that dialogue and diplomacy is the only key, because in any sort of conflict, third-party involvement is very much important, and both the leaders agreed on the same page. How do you see this in world's diplomatic point of view, Amit?
You see, Deepika, the fact that all the topmost, issues which are plaguing the global community right now were discussed during the meeting with President Trump and between President Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. That itself reflects the fact that US also takes India very seriously as far as global issues are concerned. The very fact that both the leaders discussed Ukraine-Russia conflict, the ongoing Iran and Israel conflict. It shows that, the US also takes India's point of view quite seriously as far as all these global issues are concerned. These are right at the center stage right now, because every citizen across the globe is getting affected by this geopolitical unrest that's happening in the central, in West Asia and and Europe Asian region. So the fact, the topics which were discussed between the two leaders very clearly spells out the fact that both countries, respect each other's democratic setup, and they consider each other very crucial as far as dealing with global issues are concerned. Deepika?
All right. Thank you so much, Amit, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on the direct talks that took place this morning between President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi.